You're listening to Montgomery Creek Outdoors. Kick off your boots and kick up your heels. Today's adventure starts right now.
Well, hey everybody, this is Casey Conley, and I'm here today with my dad, Tim Conley.
Hello.
And we are doing story number 5 today on our Montgomery Creek Outdoors podcast series. So today we have a very special guest. His name's Bud Fisher, and he's with Catchin Deers. So to give you some background, you'll probably remember that really hilarious video that came out a while ago about catching deers. And they also let out a video just this morning. So it's a great time to be on the phone with Bud Fisher. How are you today, Bud?
How are you? I'm doing all right. That's a line. That's a line from my Uncle Bob.
Yes, I know.
How you doing?
Our first video.
Yeah,
doing awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for being on. So if you've seen the video, you've probably seen the part where he's like, "Oh, my uncle, he shoots a lever action," and he's like, "How you doing? How are you?" So yeah, we had to play off of that. But thanks for joining us today, Bud.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Quick story on that before we get into everything. People keep asking me. They'll send me notes or they'll ask me in person. They'll say, "Who played your Uncle Bob?" I said, "That's my Uncle Bob."
Yeah. He was perfect for the role, yes. I might add.
That's probably how he talks, phenomenal. Right?
Oh, yeah. He's great. He's great.
Well, listen, Bud, this morning at 8 o'clock, you guys released your latest video from downtown Times Square, New York. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. That's right. We've had so much fun. That kind of came up, with some friends, as everything with Catchin Deers, has. It's just kind of happened organically with us having fun. And one of the guys kind of mentioned, we should go to a big city and see what people think about catching deers there. And we were just like, oh my goodness. And so we're just like, let's do it. So brought the camera along, spent a day in Times Square, New York. I went to school a couple hours from there in Connecticut. I was on a hockey scholarship. I was formerly a hockey player. And so I'd been there a few times, but never camera in hand and doing interviews. And so we had a whole lot of fun interviewing people, and I just love getting to know new people. And everybody was a great sport. Hardly anybody knew anything about hunting, so we had some good laughs about it. And yeah, check it out. Check it out on our Facebook page. We just had a blast, and people were just genuinely funny. It was great.
And they were, yeah. Everybody should go check it out. So when did you record that? Was that recently? And did you produce it yourself?
Yeah, we've got a team of we actually partner with them. They're called Reborn Creative Media, and they're just some great guys that I basically grew up with here. They live in the same hometown as my parents do, and they produced our first video, and they're just like buddies of ours that understand what the brand is to us. They're just like one of the guys. And what we communicated to them right from the start is that this brand, the Catchin Deers brand, is an extension of like our friendship and what it's like to be at the hunt camp with us, right? It's just got to capture that. And so they totally get it. And they are just hilarious guys that the whole time we're together, we're laughing. And so we just try to capture a piece of that and then share it with our friends. And, things have kind of taken off. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, I don't want to be the spoiler for people who haven't watched the video as of yet, but a little bit about some of the conversations you had with some of the folks there. I mean, I'm sure you couldn't show all of them. Was there any outstanding or conversations or interviews you had that didn't make the cut that's worth noting?
Yeah, you know what? There was a lot of things that we couldn't really share. So there was a few that were like censored out, but there was just a ton of content, and we didn't want. There's two reasons. We didn't want the video to be too long, right? Because we get bored pretty fast as humans. But also, we like to share a little bit of extra stuff with our email subscribers as well, and like to have some kind of premium behind-the-scenes content. But I'll just share a few things that I thought was funny. One of the first guys that I interviewed, actually the first guy, it was like 9 a.m. in Times Square, And I asked the guy if he'd do an interview with me, and he said no. And this kid came flying over, and he said, I will. And we shared just a snippet of this interview, but essentially I caught him in a lie, and the conversation was hysterical because I was asking about catching deers, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all." I said, "Well, would you do it?" He goes, "I've actually caught a few deers."
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I said, "Oh, is that right?" And so I started asking him about it. I said, "Yeah, the first time I was ever hunting out with my grandpa on his farm, and there was a bunch of bucks in the field." And I said, "So then what happened next?" And we didn't show all of it, just snippets kind of in our video. But he got to tell me, I was like, "Well, did you chase him down? Did you hide behind a bush? Did you use the net? What did you?" He's like, "Oh, he was kind of like docile. I was like, he was tame." He said he wasn't tame. He was just docile. So then he kind of started to backpedal, and we had some fun with it. But
I wondered how much he scored. Did he even measure him?
No, I don't. It's tough to measure them when they're live.
It is.
He didn't have to use one of those He didn't have to use one of those signature high body tackles like you use, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I've never got my arms around a live deer. Only my buddies in deer suits, unfortunately.
So let's switch gears here. Let's talk about the first video, the one that kind of started it all. Where did you get that idea? I mean, it's an original idea. Talk to us about how you all come up with that.
Yeah. Do you mean like the content for the video, or do you mean the brand itself, like the Catchin Deers brand?
I guess both.
There's a story behind both. Yeah. So the story behind kind of the Catchin Deers foam trucker hat, which is kind of our flagship or our kind of core product that we've sold the most of.
And we're wearing them right now. We're wearing them right now.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. That started in Kentucky. We've got a hunt camp in Kentucky, and we had one of our friends come and visit us on the night before, opening morning, and he's not a big hunter. He happens to be a partner of ours in this business now. He's since got a compound bow, and he's head to toe in camo, and he loves it. But at the time, he just kind of dabbled in it. And he came walking through the door. He said, "Well, fellas, did you catch anything?" And we just all froze. So it became a big thing that weekend. He was stuck in a hunt camp with us all weekend. And we were making fun of him the whole time. Well, then we started noticing how many other people have done it before. We'd be wearing our camo going through a drive-through, or we'd have friends, and a bunch of people are asking us if we caught any deer. And we had this one friend in particular, a different guy, that asked us if we got any deers. And so we pluralized the deers, and it just became a joke, right?
We've all been there and had it happen.
I mean, people in our family, we'll go to Easter this weekend, and they'll be like, "Did you catch any turkeys?" I guarantee it.
Yes, it's all happened. So we did kind of a Google search to see, has anybody ever capitalized on this and had some fun with it? And nobody had. So what we did is I went, kind of unbeknownst to anybody, I went and got 6 foam trucker hats made, the ones that you're wearing now, and only 6 of them, just to bring for the guys. And I had this I'd set it up where I was going to bust them out and have this big moment. And the guys thought it was the funniest thing ever. So we just started wearing them on our own. And this was in September of 2016. It's all brand new.
Yeah.
And everywhere we went, people would ask us where we got that hat. We'd be at the airport, or we'd be, at a festival, like in Tennessee or anywhere. So we said, guys, we got to do this. So let's test out the market by making a video, just, parlaying into this video. Let's see what other people think. We think it's hilarious. People love the hats. Let's make a video. And so it was at that hunt camp that we came up with a bunch of the ideas that are in that video. You got to tackle a guy. You've got to have, an explosion, and and then the media team that we worked with came up with so many subtle things that were really, really creative, because they're just like us, and they have the same sense of humor that we do, but they're very strong on the creative and visual side. So they're like, I think we're missing something. Why don't we have, Adrian that's taking a pee behind you, but his pants are all the way down his ankles, before it out. So it was just us having a lot of fun. And what's great about it is we're kind of a yes team, where it's just like somebody comes up with a funny idea, and we just say, yes, let's do it, And that's what that's where New York came from. That's where the video came from. and we're just having fun. It's not a whole lot of pressure, but we're just kind of blessed and happy that people like it. They think it's funny and they like the hats. So
Whenever you decided to do it, and there again, I mean, it sounds like it was just for fun, but take it to the next level. I mean, how many actual views has that first video had, and did you ever dream it would go that big?
yeah, you know what? I asked the guys. There was like 6 of us there at the hunt camp that we filmed it at, and I said, "What do you guys think? Like, is this going to go viral?" And the guys that have experience in the media were like, you just can never know. But on a launch like this, and if you're trying to sell some hats, if we did 50 to 100,000, that'd be really, really great. Like, that would be a fantastic response to a video like this. But you just never know.
Yeah.
And it turns out we had 55,000 by noon the first day.
Oh my God.
500,000. Yeah, 500,000 in the first 24 hours, and we're sitting at about 3.8 million on that first video right now.
That's nuts.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, it was. We're very blessed. It was a lot of fun. So a little bit of a whirlwind for us, just kind of tracking it on Facebook, and that's on Facebook. We've also got probably 100,000 on different channels for Instagram because people reposted it, and on YouTube it's got another 50,000 or so. But
yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's great. Some other things you've done between this video you released today and that one is some short clips called "Between the Horn." I think my personal favorite is the scent control, and just that dry humor is if you step outside of yourself and kind of look at what goes on sometimes, we're as hunters we're funny, but I think my favorite part of that one was when you said, "Yeah, I caught 14 deers last year." Well, catch and release.
Catch and release, though.
So just
you know what's funny about those Between the Horn videos is that Pat McCauley, who's Prius Pat, he doesn't actually drive a Prius, but he's Prius Pat, and that's him. He's just outstanding, and we've got a relationship that we will just build off of each other and just go with the flow. And it's always been that way with Pat and I. And so he'll send me a voicemail and he'll try to call me and leave a voicemail. And it's just ridiculous, where it's like he's in LA and he flew all the way there for this merger of this major company, and he offered him $500 million, and he, walked out because it was a joke. And you're like, where did that come from? Like, it's just, he just makes up stuff, and it's funny. So we decided after dinner while we were filming, like, let's do some other stuff, and let's just sit in front of the camera and let's just make stuff up. And so we didn't have anything scripted. We didn't have any ideas. The guys behind the camera said, "Hey guys, why don't you talk to us about scent control?" And so then we just talk, and it turned out that, some of it was stupid and wasn't funny at all, but a few of the clips, turned out to be pretty funny. So we kind of shared those with everybody. So
yeah.
It was just us having fun, and every once in a while when you're digging through the mud, you find a nugget of gold, I guess.
That's right. What do they say? Every blind squirrel gets a nut sometimes. So
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
so
it.
let's.
So we're just a bunch of blind squirrels running around right now.
So talk to us about, I guess, your personal life. Where are you from, and where do you hunt, and what do you use? I know in the video you talked about, you like stick and string. Are you a traditional archery guy? So that was kind of 3 questions in one. But where are you from?
Yeah. Let me write those down.
Sorry, bud.
It's all good. I'm from. So there's 3 of us in the business, and I'm kind of the marketing guy, right? So I'm the one that's in front of the camera, but I'm not the one that makes everything happen either. So, I'll share that my brother and I are 2 of the 3 partners, and we're originally from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada.
Canada,
so we're from Ontario, Canada. That's right.
I had to throw
Absolutely.
it in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all good. I'll do it maybe once or twice here before it's done. But so we're from Ontario, Canada, and our 3rd partner is from Nashville, Tennessee, and all of us are in Nashville, Tennessee quite often. So Austin and Mike, my 2 partners, live in Nashville, and I'm down there at least once a month. I fly down there for a week on Sunday. we get a lot of stuff done there, and then I come back and I live in Ontario most of the time. But in regards to hunting, we hunt a little bit all over the place. So we're very fortunate that we've got some properties that we're able to hunt. So we hunt in Ontario. I hunt primarily in Ontario for whitetails and spring bear and turkeys here, and ducks and gooses. Maybe we'll do a Catchin Gooses hat here soon. I love to goose hunt, but we also hunt a little bit in Tennessee, and then the main place that we hunt, we all go together with our buddies to hunt, is a property in Kentucky, and that's where, what the brand represents is, we like to go and we like to have fun, but we're also kind of very careful about what we share about the hunting world. And that's for us, we believe that hunting fundamentally brings people together, right? And that's why hunting means so much to us. Yes, we get to go outside and it clears our mind, and for us, we're closer to God and things like that. And also, it's a time for us as guys to get together, and we do really important stuff when we're together. We build our relationships when we're together. We do devotionals, and spend some time kind of in the Word and stuff like that. And
cool.
And we just, it's a time, so it's a time for us guys to really kind of invest in each other. And a lot of that is humor. I think it's good for your soul. I think it's good for your heart. So we just, you leave the hunt camp after opening weekend, you feel like you've been working out your abs just because you've been laughing so much.
I believe it.
That's kind of what it is. I'm in front of the camera, but I'm not near the funniest guy there. There's some other people that I think should be in front of the camera and not me, but we'll capture that over time. So
well, we are certainly appreciative that you share all that with all the hunters out there, because it is really enjoyable to watch. Now, is this the real job, or is there another career or job that's that you have aside of this?
Yeah.
Before catching deers come around, what was the real job, or how's that work?
Well, it's funny. I mean, Catchin Deers was a little bit of a test in November, and that test passed. So we're adding more stuff, and we'll talk more about that later, about kind of what we offer to our to our customers. But before we got into doing what we're doing now, Austin and I, my one partner, work together. He's the CEO of a business, and what it does is we manufacture private label apparel and hard goods and packaging for people a lot like Catchin Deers. So it was very natural for us. We're like, let's just make some hats, and we can do it very quickly and easily. So we give some advice to entrepreneurs. We have it in two categories: entrepreneurs and leading brands. We do work with some, big companies that we do private label manufacturing for. We also do, some tour T-shirts for country music artists, and for some in-game giveaways like towels and T-shirts and stuff like that for some professional sports teams. But then we also do like full line apparel, where like men's button-up shirts and golf shirts and hats and women's leggings, all of that for companies that you might recognize. But so that's what we do. We have a lot of fun with that. And then with Catchin Deers, like, we've got a great team of fashion designers and graphic designers and things like that make it a lot of fun and very easy for us to go and make some great stuff for Catchin Deers.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. So let's talk about hunting, because I love hunting. I know you do too, and my dad does. So it's springtime. Are you going to be turkey hunting, or up in Canada, are you going to be spring bear hunting?
Absolutely. So I'm going to do both of those. I had planned to do a little bit of turkey hunting down in Tennessee and Kentucky, but that's kind of a tentative right now. Tennessee's already open, and then Kentucky opens tomorrow.
Yeah, this weekend.
Yeah. So I would have loved to get to Kentucky and do a turkey hunt, but I think I've got to wait until the 25th, where it opens here in Ontario, and I'm going to get out maybe catching some turkeys here.
Awesome.
So that'll. And I love turkey hunting. It's something that I got into 3 or 4 years ago. I was actually exclusively a whitetail hunter for many years, and got into the turkeys in the spring. And then we also do have a lot of bears on our property in Ontario. And so I am going to do, for the first time, a spring bear hunt, but I'm actually in the process of building a bow by hand, and then I'm going to try to shoot a bear with this bow that I built because I like to shoot traditional archery. So
Wow.
that's
Cool.
really exciting right now, and we're kind of late stages on that, and so
I
that's a whole lot of fun.
I guess the reason you're building a new bow because the one you tossed in the original video, it probably got broken, didn't it?
Yeah.
That trad bow.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I was very careful. I said, Pat, are you going to catch this? You got to catch this.
Yeah, we can't mess this up.
But yeah. No,
Uh,
I hunted with a compound bow for many years. I've only actually ever shot one deer with a rifle. I love to bow hunt, and I shot compound bow until last spring. I picked up my first recurve bow, and I just absolutely fell in love with traditional archery, to the point that I shoot it almost exclusively kind of during the spring and summer. And then, I get to Kentucky and I tell myself I'm going to shoot my recurve. And then I just think of, a booner stepping out at, 35 yards. And I usually end up taking out my compound. But once I get, a couple years behind me on the recurve, which is really an investment in time, I'm getting a lot more comfortable with it. And I think I'm doing all right with it. But when it comes to harvesting an animal like a deer or a bear, it takes a ton of practice and time. So we're getting there.
how about
But
how about some of those big Canadian sheds I see pictures of all over the place? Have you got them laying around up on your neck of the woods or what?
yeah. You know what? It's interesting. I've had a lot more success shed hunting in the States and in Kentucky and Tennessee than I have in Canada. Now, that being said, the biggest ever set of sheds I found are here in Canada. I found a giant set that I think is probably about 170 inches with double drop tines, and
Wow.
the mass, I could barely get my hands around the bases. It was just a giant. But what happens here more so than in the States, pardon me, is that because we have really harsh winters, at least parts of the state, Michigan's the same, and things like that. But where I hunt in Tennessee and Kentucky, we have a lot more snow here, and so the deer yard up, and they yard up in the cedar swamp, really, really thick stuff. And you could shed hunt for weeks on end and never find an antler because the deer are yarded up 3 miles away. So it makes it tough. You can find them. It's just really hard to do. You got to know exactly where the deer yard every year, and then you can get into the sheds. But typically it's so thick that you can only see, 10, 15, 20 feet around you. So you got to cover a ton of ground to find a shed.
Right.
So that said, I love getting out. It's an exercise in frustration as much as it is anything. But I found a couple big ones there.
Oh,
That's
great.
cool.
And then I found a really nice one in Tennessee this year. I just got it one afternoon, and I got away, and I found a really nice shed there. I think I posted it on the Catchin Deer's Instagram. But
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it best though. Shed hunting is an exercise in frustration. When I shed hunt, it's like I always tell myself, I'm like, I'm never gonna find one. I'm never gonna find one. And then I'm like, oh, I found one. It's like you sometimes you just walk right over them. So that's cool. So what's next for Catchin Deers? Do you have your next wild idea schemed up already?
Yeah, we've got two of them.
Oh, wow.
I can't share too much, but we're going to be consistently sharing some content. By that I mean we'll do kind of a feature video every month to 2 months, and then just kind of snippets in between. So we want to be really consistent with sharing a lot of content, just because we love doing it, and people kind of seem to enjoy it. So we're going to do that. And then on kind of the apparel side of things, like our vision for this as a company is that we want to be a full line of apparel, kind of lifestyle apparel company.
Cool.
Right. And it's going to be stuff that's inspired by the hunting camp. So for us, it's what would you wear when you come in from the stand and you take off your gear?
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it's like we just want it to be comfy. We want it to be, nice material, and we want it. It doesn't need to be head to toe camo, but it needs to say, I'm a deer hunter.
Right.
So it's a lifestyle apparel brand. We started out with the foam trucker hats and added, some orange hats and some T-shirts and stuff. But we've got a lot more in store where we're going a little bit more premium. I don't mean in price point, but I mean we're getting outside of just the T-shirts and hats and doing more hoodies and sweatpants, and whether it be vests and jackets and stuff like that. So we're really broadening the scope of what we offer to our customers, and we're just having some fun with it. So really, what we say is it's everyday kind of lifestyle apparel for the hunter. And the people that we target, which is actually, when you say target market, you want to, in marketing terms, you want to shrink down the number of people that you're really speaking to. And in hunting, people are, there's a lot of people that are very similar. And so we say it's for the hunter that takes their hunting serious, right? So we say that, one of the crew, one of the guys or one of the gals is who we really kind of identify with, and that's who we make our stuff for. So.
And I will say, you sent me a picture last night of the new women's shirt, and that looks so comfy. I would definitely wear that, not just at hunting camp, but out on the street. So
don't you have some new style hats and some new merchandise coming out? Is it on the pre-order stage? Is that where it's at, or tell us a little bit about that?
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I'd mentioned before that, our email subscribers are the people that, to us have said, we want to know more. We're on board with you guys. And so we really appreciate that. So we kind of wanted to reward those people. And so it's right now in the stage of, we've got 5 new hat styles that have come out, and they're in pre-order, meaning they'll ship on May 1st. So another kind of 2 weeks. They're in pre-order, and they've only been launched to our email subscribers. So on our website, you can, at the bottom, subscribe to email, and those folks get first look at our new products that come out, and we often launch them with like a sale and incentive. And right now, if you buy one of those hats, you get a free window decal, for your truck or for your car, or you can put on your bow case. And so we just really appreciate those people that have kind of jumped on board with us, and so they'll be to the kind of call it general public in the next week or so. And then we've got some other things as well that we're excited about. Casey mentioned the women's shirt, which is a nice, comfy, kind of long sleeve women's shirt, and we're going into more and more in terms of the women's stuff. So we got a few other things that are coming down the line.
Hey, I appreciate that.
Launching, yeah, absolutely. Well,
Bud, the coolest thing I think about the hat is the new hats is they're all named after hit list deer, and
that's right.
That is, who would have ever thought of that? You guys are on the cutting edge.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking, we were sitting there and trying to name these hats, and you could call it the black and gray mesh back. And I was like, that's boring,
Yeah.
And so I started thinking, we want to be personal about it too, in a certain sense. Like we picture all you guys as you're all our friends, right? We're just sharing what we love to do with all of our friends out there. And that's what social media does, is that it makes it so much easier to be accessible and have relationships with more people, even though you're in a different state. So what would I be sharing with my friends on here? I tell you what I text with my friends every time I check my trail cameras are hit list bucks. So, so a couple of our bucks we've actually shot. A couple of them are hit listers that'll be hopefully back next year. But they've all got a little bit of a story on them. And one of them was a deer that I missed. You have to check them out on the website. That one's kind of funny, but it was a deer that I missed with a bow. And my friends are making. I'll tell you the story right now. I missed a deer with a bow, and I was self-filming, which I don't recommend to anybody after that experience.
Yeah,
and I was so caught up with trying to get the shot, and then I rushed it, and I sailed one over its back because I thought it was at a lot farther distance than it was. And so I put it right over his back because I thought he was at 35 and he was at 25. And if I was focused on the shot, then I would have. Anyway, long story.
This story seems pretty familiar.
All too familiar to my dad right now.
I can give you the very same story for November 11th of this past season. So.
Oh, no way.
Well, listen, Bud. We appreciate you being on with us. We're about to hit our timeline, but before we go, why don't you give us a shout out on the Facebook pages, your websites, the YouTube, the Grunt Tubes, anything you got. Give the listeners where they can find all your stuff at.
Absolutely. A lot of our stuff, in terms of our content and kind of how we communicate with our friends and stuff, is on Facebook. So it's just, facebook.com/Catchin Deers, or you can just search Catchin Deers and follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. And then our website, where you can purchase our hats and our shirts and decals and stuff like that, is just www.catchindeers.com. So, we're really excited. Thank you so much for having us on. We're going to continue to have fun with this and make more stuff. A lot of the stuff that we make is, by popular demand, I'd call it. It's, when are you doing a hoodie? And, I want a new hat and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're just having fun, and we've been really blessed with it. So it's been a good time.
Well, awesome. I will say about your webpage, I found it hilarious. Anybody who's out there, go on and see their webpage, and then click on their pro staff. I'm sure you're going to see a lot of people, or you're going to know a lot of their pro staffers. So just go and do that. So the hilarious Bud Fisher, thank you for joining us today, and we're excited to see what's next from Catchin Deers, and we're definitely excited to pre-order some of that stuff, the new merchandise that you were talking about. So thanks everybody for joining us on story number 5 of the Montgomery Creek Outdoors podcast series, and this is Montgomery Creek Outdoors.
Good talk, good talk, good talk.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bud. Thank you for listening to another story and another adventure right here on the Montgomery Creek Outdoor Podcast. We would like to give a big thank you to our partners and also the fine folks at Trophy Rock, Eagle Seed, Dirt Nap Gear, and Hunter Safety System. We hope you all enjoy each moment you spend in the great outdoors and hope that your storybook of adventure has many chapters.